What's up, guys? Quick training on what is frame and why is frame so important in the context of attraction. What is frame? Frame is the operating system through which you view the world, aka other people, women, and yourself. And that operating system consists of lines and lines and lines of code, yeah, which you run on. The code fundamentally represents your beliefs, things that you believe in, basically. Yeah, that could be how you view women, how you view laws, how by to what degree you obey the rules. You think, for example, that liberals are gay. You think that pronouns are bullshit. I hope you fucking do, right? So this basically a one element of the code that you have, right? You might be thinking, well, if she doesn't text me back, she's losing interest. That is a code that you're running out on, which makes up your operating system. Now, every human being has their own operating system, which consists of the entire line of codes that they've been growing up with. Yeah? We don't need to go into detail of all the fucking codes they've been run onto because that would be billion fucking trillion, I don't know, infinite amount of possibilities basically. And that would take infinite amount of time, and we don't have that time basically because I've got also other things that I want to do in my life. You get the fucking point, yeah? So, why is frame so important? A woman, or the understanding of frame, why is it so important? A woman cannot be attracted to a man whose frame, whose operating system adjusts to her operating system. Let me explain that. The moment two humans engage, talk, those two operating systems communicate. Think of it like Mac and Windows. I don't know. I'm not a tech bro. I'm sure you can tell. So they communicate. However, if the two communication operating systems are unequally, like if there's an incongruence or mismatch in strength, one operating system will overpower the other. The one who overpowers the other, or the weaker one, will take control. And if there's one thing in the context of attraction, women cannot stand a man that has a weaker operating system than her, that can fundamentally, that replaces his operating system with her operating system. For example, if Hercules would talk to another Hercules, yeah, like, yo, yap, yap, chop, 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 chop. In an ideal world, both Hercules have the same operating system and they both believe the same, meaning they have a strong sense of self, which means that these two operating systems could communicate without absorbing the other because they're equally strong. In attraction, in the context of frame, a lot of guys, when they like a woman, they start adopting her operating system. They start adopting her rules, her worldviews, her beliefs. I've seen this with a lot of you guys that start fundamentally adjusting to her wishes and desires and demands. Now, there's nothing wrong with potentially adjusting parts of your line of code with some of her worldviews or ideas because they are actually valuable. However, the mistake that most men make is they completely replace the entire fucking operating system and take it over. They replace their Hercules. They replace their Kevin operating system with a Jessica OS, which then pisses her off. And which is the fun fact is that the moment you as a man lose your operating system and replace it with hers, guess what's going to happen? That's when the boss babe will get triggered. That's when she's actually going to turn from, let's say, if she was Aphrodite when you met her, yeah, she was Aphrodite OS, but you turned into Kevin OS and adopted her OS, you then turn her into Jessica operating. you switch operating system into Jessica because she's pissed. She's pissed that you're such a weakling, and she has to adjust her operating system because now she has to take care of you and her. Yeah, let's go a bit more into advanced frame dynamics. So how does this look like in real life? For example, I've seen this with one of or a couple of you guys. When she makes all the demands, she bombards you with a lot of questions, sets a lot of rules. Yeah, so like, hey, I don't sleep with guys on the first, second, third date. I need to trust you before I can do X, Y, Z. I don't kiss on the first date. I'm going to be 15 minutes late every single fucking time. And if you have a problem with that, then we're not going to work out. That is her imposing her OS on your OS. If you have a Kevin OS, a Kevin operating system, a Kevin frame, you will say no problem, because and you will never push back. You will keep defending yourself. She says, hey, why are you wearing this jacket? Why you're doing this? One of you guys met a girl. She said, why do you have two towels in your car? That is so weird. And he started then explaining himself, defending himself, instead of saying, you know what? People who ask this question are weird. I think you're so weird for not having two towels in your car. You live by the beach, by the way, or close to a beach, right? Do you see how easy it is to lose your frame when you start explaining yourself basically to someone, especially to a random question? I'm not saying that you should never respond to a question. The question you have to ask yourself is, when I respond to this question, where is this question actually coming from? Is this a question that tries to undermine me, or is this just a question that looks for information, basically? But also in terms of, and this is again comes back to nature, you might be running, if you have a Kevin OS, you might be running on the code that the moment you meet a woman, you have this view of this, like this female dominated worldview that whatever a woman says is right, which is fucking gay as fuck. It pisses me off about modern society. That women are more, that society says women are more emotionally intelligent. They are not more emotionally intelligent. I'm yet to meet a woman who's like even close to my level of emotional intelligence. Bitches can just fucking express themselves more. They lack even the fucking emotional composure to shut the fuck up sometimes and not cry and not feel overwhelmed. If that is emotional intelligence, while just fully expressing and emotionally dumping and vomiting and shitting yourself in emotions, if that is emotional intelligence, then fuck off. I don't want to be emotionally intelligent. It's a different story. So you need to understand that if you believe that whatever woman is right and that you need to always explain yourself to a woman, then you already run on a Kevin like a Kevin OS. Your frame is fucking weak as fuck. When a woman asks me on a date something that I do not want to respond to, I'm gonna throw that shit back at her. So like, oh, where do you come? Where are you from? For example, where are you from? Well, take a guess. If I were to say, well, yeah, I come from Germany and I live here now in Warsaw because I love it and yada yada yada. And she said, well, why do you move to Warsaw? It's so weird. And they're like, no, it's great and yada yada yada. That's me actually falling into a frame because I am thinking that her question is weird. I'm not deflecting the frame. Instead, when she asks me where you're from, I say, hey, well, yeah, I'm from, what do you think? Take a guess. You've got 3 guesses. That's me holding onto my frame and actually just gamifying the conversation. Yeah. Now I know after you've heard this, you're going to be a bit paranoid about like, oh my gosh, should I respond here? Should I respond to this question? Should I respond to that question? Am I falling into a frame? Generally, rule of thumb is make sure, like ask yourself, am I responding right now because I need to explain myself, because if I don't explain myself, this person is going to be mad, or I might lose her, and that's why that's the motivation behind my action. Then means that you are losing frame, and that you're becoming a Kevin, that you're operating a Kevin operating system, and that you're going to fundamentally, the more you love a girl, you're going to be fundamentally adjusting your frame to hers, and she's going to eat you alive. She's going to turn you to doormat, and then she's going to fucking dump you because you've proven that you're weak. And nature has has created attraction in such a way that women only can be with men who are emotionally strong, who have a strong frame. So, long story short, frame is, as a takeaway, frame is your operating system through which you view the world and yourself and the code you run on. If you keep explaining yourself, if you keep responding or reacting to a woman's questions, even though you actually don't want to respond to that way, or you feel like being a bit interrogated, she's setting all the rules and you always do what she wants you to do, that means you have a Kevin OS, a Kevin frame, and she's leading. She will leave you soon because she's not attracted to you anymore. She will not be attracted to you anymore because you're losing yourself, basically. That stands behind the saying, you're losing yourself in a relationship, meaning that you completely replace your operating system by almost like 100%, and you're just trying to please her and appease her, fundamentally. Yeah. So if you think it is completely normal to completely adjust and adapt to a woman in your life, that means you run on the Kevin operating systems, and you need to challenge your worldviews. You need to ask yourself, why do I believe that whatever a woman does is right? Why do I believe that happy wife, happy life is the right worldview? Why do I believe that I have to explain myself for everything that I want to do? Stay Hercules. Ciao, ciao.